Good evening. Welcome to the April 16th, 2026 Park Board meeting. Our first item is to call the meeting to order and ask Julie to take the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson.
Here.
Herzog.
Here.
Redmond.
Here.
Jeske.
Here.
President Zimmerman.
Here. Second item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you wish, please stand and join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for joining us in the pledge. Our third item on the agenda is approval of tonight's meeting agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Jeske, second by Commissioner Gilbertson. Any further discussion? If not, Julie, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson.
Aye.
Herzog.
Yes.
Redmond.
Aye.
Jeske.
Aye.
President Zimmerman.
Aye. Next item on the agenda, we are honored to have with us this evening Dr. Fosnot, the superintendent of the Bismarck Public Schools, is going to give a presentation on the upcoming referendum and its impact on the Bismarck Parks and Recreation. Good evening, Dr. Fosnot.
Good evening, Park Board members. Thank you again for allowing me to come speak to you tonight. Yes, I'm Dr. Jeff Fosnot, and it's my privilege to represent almost 14,000 outstanding kids and 28,000 wonderful parents that I get to help ensure they have great schools to send their kids to. So I have the best job in the world. So yeah, I'd like to share with you some of the work that my board's been doing recently and help inform you because I think you're important stakeholders in the community, and having you informed is a good thing because I think some of the work we're going to do actually does benefit parks and as well. So we'd like to showcase that. So for those that hopefully you're aware, and maybe the general audience, we've been working on a long-range facility plan for some time. It is not a new thing for Bismarck schools. Just like you, I'm sure you have rotations of equipment. They're on cycles. You try to keep a good handle on those. Could be anything from AC and heating units to compressors to roofs. As we say, Bismarck Public Schools takes care of 3 million square feet of floor every year and 2 million square feet of roofs. So we have a lot in our charge. We went through a process this last fall to update that. Went to my board in January of 26, and they accepted it. And we've spent a couple months digesting how do we accomplish the many tasks that were outlined in that plan, because it was a big number. We have a lot looking at us, you might say, that we want to accomplish. And so in late March, they decided, okay, this is going to take some community support to do that. We're going to pass the motion to go towards a referendum, and everything I've done since I think that moment has been in helping to inform people. So I do have the website on there for people that might be watching or you to go to. That's a really big link right on top of the page. If you go to Bismarck Schools website, I think you hardly miss it. So just to know where we came from. So everything in our present plan, I'm going to give you a narrowed down version. I can eloquently, maybe not so eloquently, go on this for about 40 minutes or so. I'm going to give you the narrow version. We're putting all this work in really 4 distinct buckets. The first one is modernizing and improving efficiency. Really everything in there is what we call as deferred maintenance. It's the little colored rubric we've used to determine the severity of that and the need for that, and that's on that website. You can find a document for every single school, every single facility that outlines that by that color coding. Okay. We also have what we call programmatic work. We'll see projects within the plan that are there to ensure safety and support of our students. You're going to find some projects in there that deal with some tweaky growth in Bismarck. We're really right now probably a flat enrollment for a while, which is honestly giving us a little breathing room to now go back and reinvest in some of our older schools. So elementary enrollment's a little flat, but in the south side of town, if you ever drive down South Washington, yeah, that's a pressure point for us. And so we have some work in the plan to address that. And then what I'm really going to focus on, why I put your wonderful logo on there, is I think the work we're going to do is really beneficial to our community and our parks and the people that use our facilities outside the school day. So just a quick slide on deferred maintenance. Our project is quite big. It is $37 to $40 million of work just in the deferred maintenance area. It's spanning 22 sites. We have 32 different physical buildings that we are responsible for. So you can see it's quite extensive. It's really hitting almost every part of the district, aside from those really new schools that we built in the last 5 to 6 years that really don't need too much attention. But I would tell you, deferred maintenance, just like you, I'm sure you have equipment that needs updating. As I tell people, it's like your house. No genie just comes in your house and magically replaces your furnace. It takes work, it takes effort, it takes planning. These things are true here. And I would also say, you know this as well as I, none of these things are going to be cheaper next year or the year after. So that's kind of why we're a little momentum to get this done now while we can. If we go to the programmatic part, one of the big things that is taking up a lot of the effort in that area is accessibility. And we truly believe that all of our schools should meet modern accessibility standards. I would say that's easy for modern schools that are new, okay? But when you have buildings that are near average is 47 years old, when you have some schools that are even over that, we have particularly some elementary schools, and if you know your school logos and have a little school pride, you can see those on the screen, but that just do not have accommodating restrooms for students or adults that have accessibility concerns. We truly believe that this district has made choices where kids don't go to their neighborhood school and go to a school that can accommodate their needs in the past. I kind of think that's a little hard to digest in 2026. And I would also say and maybe what you're more concerned with is I think we need accessible bathrooms for the adults that visit our buildings. The grandmas and grandpas that come, or mom and dad that wants to come visit a classroom, should have a bathroom if they have accessibility challenges. So that's become a prime focus. The 3 schools listed also on the slide are multi-story buildings yet in Bismarck that don't have an elevator. We are our stories at Pioneer of kids being pushed out a door, around the building, down through the playground, into the lunchroom when they may have an injury that makes them not able to walk. They're in a scooter for, maybe even a short period of time. Again, I think in 2026, that's something we should be attacking very aggressively. So I guess my point to you is when you use our facilities or you have events that bring people into our facilities, I would bet you have the same expectation as there's an accessible bathroom and ability to navigate the building. Another thing that we're talking about, this really more in the supported side, we are trying to keep all of our schools kind of similar in their the offerings they have. So we went into Century this year knowing that they were dramatically behind BHS and LHS when it comes to physical education spaces. That's the third gym that might be tied to their competition gym. It's a walking track, it's a wrestling room, it's a weight and fitness room that's actually in a portable. It's just some areas where they're not the same as BHS and LHS. So we put some effort in the plan to make sure that we have additional health and PE classrooms available to us during the day. But I also think when those are available, they're also available after hours. They become the place where we do youth activities, adult rec, those league sports, or maybe even just a meeting. Those become highly prized community spaces. And when we were there visiting in the fall, the parents of Century brought up a kind of a gap in our fine arts. And I know we don't rent a lot of fine art space for you, but I think it's available to the community to use. And if you've ever been in the Century Auditorium, it's quite small as compared to BHS and LHS. In 2 years, it won't hold a class. And if you just look at the physical space, when we talk about our artists, our kids that are in the fine arts, and I will brag, Century High School just won the State One Act here just 2 days ago, so go Patriots. But I think they should have equal opportunity for an environment where they can go stage right, stage left, have their orchestra performing, have a place where they can do scene work. So we're trying to, we've added to the plan something to get them more commensurate with what LHS and BHS has. And we dug up some data because we think our spaces, if it's a lunchroom, if it's a little gymnasium in a school, if it's the big competition gymnasiums, we think our sites are busy. And so we went out and I know you serve after school care for kids. Right now we project that there's 350 kids waiting on waiting lists to get into after-school care. Well, in our school, we don't do that in classrooms. We use those big communal spaces to offer that. And in some schools, we just run out of space. We don't have any more room for sections, so we couldn't add them if we wanted to. Well, in several schools, Centennial, Solheim, Moses, we're planning to add on some multi-purpose room space, which helps us during the day, but it also gives an opportunity to expand after-school care. And we think that's a win for the community as well, not just for us during the day. And the bottom stat we dug up, someone asked, like, how much time are we renting to agencies or entities? That's 130 rental hours a day, Monday through Saturday. Through that time period, July 1 to December 31st. I think our spaces are used a lot. And so again, additional space for a community to rent seems like a win for the community, so they can use that even more than they are now. Get to the money, because superintendents, that's all we deal with is money. That's not true. I would say the district is committed to keeping on top of the greens that are reflected here. We know that we can do that within the budgets that are given or provided to us from the state and also what we collect for our building fund. So that's our promise for the future. We're going to get on top of this. We're going to stay on top of it for the near future and hopefully not be in this predicament in the probably past my tenure in the district. The rest of that equates to $127 million. And for taxpayers, because we're all taxpayers probably in our community, that boils down to, if you look at your true and full value on your home, and that for clarity is that's the number at the top of the pink sheet that says what we all know our house worth, what we hope what we can sell it for maybe. For every $100,000 of true and full value, the tax impact is $4.07 a month. So if you have a $300,000 home, multiply by 3. We've given you some simple ones to look at as far as the tax impact, so you can see that. And we're comparing ourselves to others. I do think Bismarck is in a fortunate position because of the nature of a growing community, a thriving community. I think Commissioner Gilbertson and I were talking ahead, there's 1,000 new people coming to town every year. We're a growing and thriving community. We're actually benefiting from a little breather in that, so that's okay. But we want that, right? So with that comes a very robust tax base as we continue to grow our community. If you look at the rest of these 6 schools, all Class A schools that have done something similar in the recent history, you can see what the tax impact is for what they could do in their community. I will tell you, Bismarck can do more, spread it across more schools, benefit more neighborhoods at less impact on taxpayers than any of these 6 schools. Election June 9th, I would encourage you to go vote. I can't tell you to vote yes or no. That's not my job. It's just to give you the facts. But I would say you have 2 important things on the ballot, at least for Bismarck Public Schools. You'll have this question, and just for clarity, a yes is a yes, and no is a no. It's real simple. No backwards language on there. But you'll also be, for me, 5 board members. I have 3 open spots this year. So please cast your vote for who you want leading your district next year. That's important. At least it's important to me. So I would stand for any questions you may have.
Well, thank you, Dr. Fosnot. We'll start with Commissioner Redmond.
Thank you, President Zimmerman, Dr. Fosnot. Thanks so much for coming. My husband and I attended your presentation the other night at Century High School. I attended the whole thing. Commissioner Gilbertson left early. I'd like that noted. But it was a great presentation, and I appreciate so much where you said your first areas of concern were the deferred maintenance. You talked about the accessibility. That's also something that the Park District is working very, very, very hard on. Tell me which schools again are you talking about? The multi-purpose spaces that you're talking about with of course, our BLAST program that we'd love to be able to get our hands on.
You're going to challenge my memory, Commissioner?
I thought Grimsrud was one, and you said Centennial?
Centennial has an addition. We're really trying, if you think of the modern elementary schools, so I'm going to narrow my scope here by this. A lot of modern elementary schools have a lunchroom and kind of a multi-purpose, really small gym, right? So operationally for an elementary school, you can have PE running for 6 grades, and then you can do lunch and all that stuff. If you go to Solheim, right now they're in the same box. So Solheim's a large school. So during the day, they actually have 2 PEs going on in the same small little space. And then at lunch, they raise up the curtain, they put the balls away, they prop up the tables, they all eat like madmen. You know, crazy, get in here, get out, and then put the tables up and then drop the curtain and away they go. That's really tough in a growing school and a schedule. So what we're trying to achieve, and I would say Centennial has an additional lunchroom coming on, so they have 2. Myrie has an additional lunchroom coming on, so they have 2. Solheim's getting additional space, so they have 2. There's additional multi-purpose room space at Moses. You're going to stretch me.
I thought Grimsrud had something, or maybe there's
Grimsrud
remodeling.
has
Okay.
Grimsrud has an additional. If you've ever been in the Grimsrud school, that's
like
one that
pods.
looks like it's
Pods.
about to take
Yeah.
off. It
Right.
looks like all built on circles. And if you've been in theirs, that gym lunchroom space is really a unique position. So yes, there's another gym space, multi-purpose room space on Grimsrud as well. Yep.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Other, Commissioner Gilbertson?
Thank you, President Zimmerman. And as I mentioned before, I do appreciate the emphasis on the safety and the accessibility, because I mean, it's important to this board for our facilities, but there are times when there are park or are events run by and sponsored by the park district that are in your buildings. You know, a lot of the amateur basketball and such. I mean, I remember a story of when the AEDs were coming out. There was an event at Wachter Middle School where some of the people there for men's basketball actually saved a man's life for it. So the safety and accessibility is very important. So I do appreciate that. And then keeping more than just, I mean, it's important for the kids at school, but there's a lot of times there's community members in there as well. And having 2 parents that have limited mobility access.
Absolutely. And you can find, if you go to one of the older schools, Vintage, they're great schools. They're wonderful. I'm in that age group, so I'm vintage myself. So, but they just were not designed the same way as a modern bathroom. And some of those entryways, I was in Wilmore the other day, that's about the size of this desk. That's what the entry point width is, and between the wall and the sink, and you're supposed, I mean, there's just no way. You're not going to navigate that if you were a visitor. So that's the kind of things that just are stark, and we need to address them. So.
And I am a Grimsrud Grizzly, so I'm very, very familiar with the spaceship design, and it's very exactly. So thank you.
Commissioner Jeske?
President Zimmerman, thank you. So Dr. Fosnot, not to get too deep in the weeds, but I'd like to hear a little bit more about the safety things that you're looking to expand upon, because I do think that is so important. We continually to hear about, school shootings and all that other stuff that's taking place. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about what enhancements you're looking at.
Let me, Commissioner Jeske, thank you for the question. Let me put that in a couple buckets. You're going to see things in the plan as simple as like at Solheim, if we get the portables and move those inside the brick and mortar of the school, not having kids in portables, there's a safety element to that, because anybody can walk up to that yard and knock on the door. So let's put them inside the brick and mortar where they have to get through a few people before they get in your school. I think that's a safety element in itself. At Solheim, when we move those portables out, now we can also get 2 separate pull-in loops, one for parents and cars, one for buses. You'll see, again, modern architecture has those separate. There's a safety reason for that. You're going to see simple things like at Myrie, some additional fencing, some additional lighting. We understand the traffic around Myrie and the walking traffic, and so there was a concern from staff about doing that. We've done that. One of the big ones you'll see is what we call as line-of-sight offices. You're going to push a button to get accepted into any school during school hours, and a wonderful secretary, like, who are you? Why are you here? Do we buzz you in? That's kind of just accepted anymore. I think that's really good security. I feel good about that. The next layer, if you want to call it security 3.0, is to say when you get buzzed in, you should go into a vestibule and go into an office. Some of our schools, if you walk into Myrie, you buzz in, hello, come on in, Jeff, door opens, you're now in a hallway. You walk through a hallway about 10 steps forward, 4 steps to the left before you find the office. I walked in today, now I'm mingling with kids. I'm right there with them. Same thing's true in Wilmore, same thing's true in Pioneer. It's just that next level, so if we can get the offices close to front doors, that's a large part of our safety work. It's not a huge thing, but it matters, right? That they get received by an adult before they get to be in the areas with kids. So, good question.
Commissioner Herzog?
Thank you, President Zimmerman, Commissioners. Dr. Fosnack, thanks for being here. I'm curious, well, I hope if it passes, you get your bond rate's great. I know the city's bond, the ratings that have, the interest rates have been really good. So fingers crossed, knock on wood for you. I went to the BHS feeder discussion back in, I think it was like late September.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting to look at, like you said, some of the older schools, but you've got a lot of folks that are that feed into the BHS from a huge amount of neighborhoods, which is fantastic. I'm curious what people have been saying to you. I noticed that you've had your have coffee with me, and have people showed up, and are people interested? I mean, I appreciate that you're doing that. So this is people's chance to ask you questions and get informed before June 9th. So have you had any takers? Has it been a good process for you?
I've had a few cups of coffee, yes. I would say, has it been as robust as I would hope? No. I would have loved to have it. I think I've done that, 3 times now, and I think I probably have less than 5 people total. I'm going to have to start offering free coffee. I don't know. I'm going to have to start buying coffee. But I just think it's one of many things, right? It's the after-school forums, which we have one next week, Tuesday, in BHS. We have one Thursday night next week at Simile, and a community forum that you can come hear this plan. But it's also about going to clubs and rotaries. I mean, honestly, anybody viewing, if you have a civic organization, if you have a coffee clutch, if you have a Saturday morning men's group that gets and talks about baseball or whatever, call me. I'll show up. I'll answer your questions. So I kind of jokingly said, my pastor tells me whenever 2 people get together and pray, God is there. If you talk about school, Jeff will be there. So I just, keep asking. I'll do that. I wish more people would be engaged? Absolutely. But my job is just to keep answering the questions and hopefully inform as many people as we can before June 9th.
Yeah,
So.
and all you can do is be available. So
Right.
I hope people do take advantage of your availability.
Dr. Fosnot, one question, maybe not relevant, but, if the state passes the bill to provide free breakfast and lunch,
Yeah.
are you looking, would that impact some of the schools' dining or kitchen facilities? Because now I hear from people, every high school kid runs to Pizza Ranch or McDonald's. Well, now if they have free lunch, I just out of curiosity, if that ever came up, that, you'd have to add on to a dining room or a kitchen.
Well, President Zimmerman, I would say if your high school kid's going to get pizza, that's a parental problem. I'm just saying. I've had that same problem with my children, and then I just reduced the allowance that they could use, so it forced them to go to lunch, which I paid for. So I don't want to take that on, but we do have a thought that, yes, with that, if that's going to go to the vote, it's going to come. I don't know what the outcome will be, but we're thinking about it. One of the things that's about $6 million, a little over $6 million in our plan, is the concept of a centralized kitchen. I didn't add that slide. If you come on Tuesday, it'll be on there. But we really think we are going to have more kids that eat on campus. And if you've ever heard of our farm to school program, which I think you guys have talked about, right? That's a great thing for our community to get fresh fruits and vegetables, locally sourced food, just provide more entree opportunities for our kids that are not filled with preservatives and additives and all the things we worry about in our food supply. We just approved a 10,000-pound contract for ground beef last night at our board meeting. We're now doing locally sourced ground beef for most of our taco products at the high school, but we just run out of capacity to produce. Our kitchens, that works in a large high school kitchen, doesn't work in an elementary kitchen. So the concept of a centralized kitchen is we can now do that K-12. Mrs. Wagner would tell me, she's told me that we can go back to baking our own bread and delivering fresh bread to our schools. And if you were my age, that was a great thing to have a fresh bun every day. Okay, so we think that's a benefit nutritionally for our kids, and benefit-wise, we can do that. I don't have enough cooks already, but I can do it with less operational costs. So I can save something on that and do it with less manpower than I have to do now, which is really our reality. We're never fully staffed, so it helps us operationally.
Well, Dr. Fosnot, thank you for coming in, and I hope, again, folks that watch the meeting would come to your forums or ask questions, but I know the Park District and partners with the school district, so thank you for coming out this evening and giving us a heads up.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Well, we kind of continue with the Bismarck school system, public schools. We have the next item on the agenda is our 100th anniversary logo. And Renee Yoakum, our recreation manager, is going to walk us through the creative process and unveil our final logo design that was with the graphic design class. So good evening, Renee. It's all yours.
President Zimmerman, Commissioners, I'm really excited to be here tonight. I am not creative, so this had nothing to do with me. Let me just be clear on that. I was just kind of working behind the scenes. As you know, we have our 100th anniversary in 2027, so we've started the process of some background information and kind of planning and preparing what we want to do during that time, and we definitely wanted to have a logo. And so when we were talking about like who should design the logo, or what should we do, we thought, well, we have this great community, we have access to really creative kids, students, and we thought, why not Bismarck Public Schools, one of our best partners. So I reached out to Tim Meyer, who is the graphic design teacher at the Career Academy last summer, and asked him about what do you think? A logo contest, would that work for your classes? And he immediately agreed. And I want to just say that Tim Meyer was my daughter's hockey coach for like 4 years, best coach in the state of North Dakota for girls hockey. And she does not suffer fools, my daughter. So that just tells you about like what kind of person Tim Meyer is in order to work with high school kids and do such a good job. His patience is unmatched. So I'll mention that in a little bit later, but so earlier this year, I talked to Tim last summer. Earlier this year, we set some parameters. We got the information to him, like we want these colors, incorporate our logo. Here's kind of what we're looking for, but that's all. We didn't say we want it to look like this or like this. And they worked on it in the fall. There was a 19 students total that worked on the logos, and we got a packet of logos in January of probably, I think they were all 19. They each had 2 or 3 logos per page. They were excellent. Like, it was so hard to choose and figure out how do we narrow it down. So 3 of us, Mike Wall, Wendy Berg, and I, we kind of looked at it. We kind of picked our top 5. We brought it to the group. Then we had ideas. We tweaked it. I mean, this was a process. This went on for months where, like, can you change this? Can you move that? Can you do this? Can you do that? And then when we finally got it down, we took it to a vote of the staff, and that's where we landed on we have 2 final anniversary logos, which we plan to use for lots of things. We're banners, our T-shirts, our staff shirts will have them. We're hoping to put like those magnetic things on the trucks. Kevin and I were just talking about a bunch of stickers. Like we're gonna really use these logos and promote our 100th anniversary. We're super proud and super excited about this, but these talented students who design the logos are here tonight. We are missing one, and we're really excited to introduce them to you. Now, the Career Academy, if you're familiar with that, that's all 3 high schools. So Tim's class has Legacy, Century, and Bismarck High. The students that design the logos, we have 4 of them. They're a mix, and I'm going to introduce them. We do have a little thank you for them. I'm going to introduce them, and then we'll pull up the logos, okay? So first, I'd like to introduce Callie Olson from Century. She's a sophomore. Want to come up? Just you can stand up. I know it's awkward, but we won't make you say anything. I'm going to give you that. Elias Abrizo from Century is a junior. And then Maya Dewald is from Century. She's a senior. And then we also have Chloe Berger from Legacy as a senior. She's not here tonight. So now I will pull up the logos, I think. Is there a password? Is there a password? I don't know what I'm doing. Is it on? Oh, sorry. Okay, so this is the first one. Isn't that great? we were really excited to see this. This went through a couple of iterations. I don't know who the original was. So what happened was we had a couple of original ones, and then when we came back to like our final ones, all the class worked on them. So then we got, I mean, we looked at hundreds of different logos and variations and challenges, but we really like this, like at the capital city, our starburst being so big, the 100 being so big. So we were really excited to see this. And I think this one is one we'll see like on a lot of the banners, and we're going to see which one looks best for as far as the clothing and things. But then we have this one. Maybe? Why is this thing having trouble? Okay, where is it? It's not letting me use these little arrows. Why am I such an idiot with this? This one. So this is another one that kind of came through a couple of alliterations, but between the two of them, we're just really, really excited and really impressed. So I want to give a round of applause to all of our students. And also Tim. Tim is the one that like dealt with me, and me like sending him screenshots of things with handwriting on it saying, hey, can you have them do this and fix this and work on that? So it was so great to work with somebody like him as well. Obviously a coach of girls hockey, knows how to deal with all kinds of people and do lots of different things. So we just had a great team and a great partnership with them. So we're very impressed. And when we look to order some of the stuff, we're going to make sure they all get like some garments or something with the logos that they designed on them. So, are there any questions?
Commissioners, any questions? Commissioner Gilbertson.
I guess not so much a question, but just a statement. First of all, I know Tim too, and he's not that great. No, I'm just kidding. Tim's an amazing guy, and I also, as somebody who's in education for my real job, I love it, absolutely love it when young people who are talented, passionate, and just amazing at what they do are given the opportunity to work on a real life problem or a real life situation and to see their work come to fruition. It's absolutely amazing. So thank you for going to the students. And I'm sure there's lots of talented people in your classes, but it's so awesome that you guys are here to get the recognition you deserve.
Commissioner Jeske.
Thank you, President Zimmerman. I just want to commend you guys. It's always hard when someone has a vision, and then you have to try and put that vision to paper. And you guys just did a really good job representing the Park District. I think both designs are very unique and different, and yet they really project what we want to say with our 100th anniversary. So kudos to you guys. Creative process is not always easy. You have to be broad-shouldered, thick-skinned, and short-toed because people keep coming back at you with changes. So you got to make sure that you're able to accept those changes. But yeah, you did a beautiful job. Congratulations to you guys. I'm excited to see how these, show up on printed materials and everything else around town. So thank you for your hard work.
Commissioner Herzog.
President Zimmerman, Commissioners, I do have a question. Can we take a picture with you and your teacher and everybody? We won't make you speak, but it would be nice to have a group picture. Sweet. Okay, thanks.
Commissioner Redmond.
I just want to reiterate, but I'm just so proud of all of you. Design by committee is really hard. It's really hard because everybody has an idea, and sometimes you just really want to hold on to something, and you kind of have to let it go. But in the end, it's always a really good product, and I'm just so proud of you. And yes, we want a picture of all of you because you're so proud of you. So can we do that? Let's go.
All right,
Let's do it.
We'll invite Tim, of course, to be part of it as well.
By the way, we did bring donuts to the whole class because they were all initially involved in
all right.
it, so they did get donuts.
I'm not coming in.
Can I give you this?
Yes, I will.
Okay. It's so good.
Kate, great idea.
Yes, that's a good thing to recognize the students and the work, and great way to kick off our 100th. And thanks to Renee as well for shepherding that project through. Our next item on the agenda is our featured partners and programs. We have two this evening. For the Keep Bismarck Beautiful program, we have Carl Jackson from the Bismarck Rotary Club. Good evening, Carl.
Good evening, Commissioners. For those of you who I haven't met, my name is Carl Jackson. I'm with the Rotary Club here in Bismarck. We're about 100 members of leaders throughout the community in Bismarck and Mandan, and our motto is service above self. So I'm here to talk to you about Keep Bismarck Beautiful. And Dana, thank you for the invitation to be here. So I'll just read through a few statements, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. So first of all, the 2026 event snapshot. It is scheduled for Saturday, May 2nd. And we meet at Peace Park, so right by your offices. And the start time is 9 a.m., and it typically goes until about noon. So that's kind of the snapshot for this year. I want to take a minute and just walk through a few facts that you might be interested in knowing about Keep Bismarck Beautiful, if you're not already aware. So it began as a grassroots effort in 2014, and since then, it has grown from about 100 volunteers the first year to about 250 each year. The first year, the community picked up about a ton of trash in the first year, and so it was a really successful event. It built on a simple idea: stop talking about the litter problem in the community and just start doing something about it. Rotary did not get involved until 2019. Because it was a grassroots effort, it just ended up getting to be a little bit too much, and so they approached us and asked our organization if we'd be willing to step in and help spearhead those efforts. And so Rotary has been leading it with several partners since 2019. So let's see. I want to make sure to emphasize that Rotary's motto is service above self, but we have a commitment to environmental stewardship and community impact. And so a lot of what we do with programs through Rotary revolve around those three elements: service above self, community impact, and environmental stewardship. But I need to emphasize, this is not just a Rotary event. It's a wonderful community event. It's an expression of our club's commitment, and that's why we lean into it, and we try to commit to spearheading this every year. But it would not be a success if we didn't have all of the volunteers. So that's the very best part, is you see people showing up from every corner of the community: individuals, families, households, but businesses. There are a lot of businesses and organizations that organize teams to come and volunteer for this effort. It's a really great experience for everybody. So a little bit about the day of the event, for those of you that haven't been there, and I encourage you to check it out this year if you haven't. Everybody checks in at Peace Park. We provide trash bags, T-shirts. We have partners in the community that donate coffee and donuts, and so you get some snacks when you show up. And then we also get family-friendly door prizes donated. And so when you show up, you're automatically entered into door prizes, and people kind of enjoy the fun that comes with something like that. So how it works. This cleanup occurs throughout the entire community. It's parks, it's trails, it's roadside ditches, it's right-of-ways, it's even just vacant lots. If someone's aware of a vacant lot and they feel compelled to go clean up a large vacant lot, there are people cleaning up vacant lots. Green spaces, public areas. The key point here is that it's a coordinated citywide effort. We've got maps. We assign you a spot on the map, and then we check it off. We know that that spot on the map is cleaned up, and it's a really efficient process. As I mentioned, the first year was 1 ton. It's much more trash that gets cleared from the community every year. It removes significant volumes of litter annually. It engages hundreds of volunteers. It strengthens civic pride, community ownership, and its collaboration across a lot of different sectors and individual personalities in the community. And it's really fun to see everybody interacting the morning of the event. It's one of the most accessible ways for anyone in the community to directly improve the Bismarck community, and it's a really great event. Finally, I want to touch on some of the partnerships. Like I said, this is not just a Rotary event. Again, many individuals do it every year, but organizations that partner with Rotary, it's your organization, it's Bismarck Parks and Recreation, it's the City of Bismarck, it's Keep North Dakota Clean, and then a wide variety of local businesses and volunteer groups. And every year we're getting more and more people interested and involved. There are people interested in extending this effort, so they might start something on that day, on that Saturday, and then they might continue that project for another week till it's done right. And we're hearing more and more stories about that, so there's lasting impact. So it continues to grow because people continue to show up. And so I can't come here without an ask, and my ask is to just encourage you to get the word out. There are, on our website, I think you'll find it pretty easy to access. There are QR codes you can scan. There are ways to sign up. And we need individuals, we need nonprofits, we need businesses to sign up. And so our ask is to just help get the word out. We can always use more volunteers. We will never turn away more volunteers. So with that, I really appreciate your time, and I welcome any questions.
I see several lights are on, Carl, so hold tight there.
All right.
Commissioner Jeske.
President Zimmerman, Carl, thank you for coming today. I thought you'd be at the annual banquet.
I'm on my way there.
I'll follow you. So a couple questions for you. It starts at 9. So what time does it normally wrap up?
You know, people, honestly, they should come at 9 because that half-hour time frame is when you get assigned your spot. But if people only have an hour to give, we'll take an hour. That's great. We'll give you the bags, we'll give you the pickers, and you can give us what you'd like. Because what we ask you to do then is just leave the bags by the curb, and then the city comes by and picks them up. So we don't need our volunteers to go haul their trash somewhere or anything. So we'll take an hour, or we'll take 3, or, like I mentioned, some of those groups, they carry it on for a few days till they get something completed.
Are there any age restrictions? I mean, because I have a 3-year-old granddaughter, and she'd probably have a blast picking up trash. So I'm just wondering, would that be allowed? I know we'd have to be careful to make sure she was in a spot that was safe so that she didn't, get hit by traffic. But any age restrictions?
No, not one bit.
Okay.
And if you can bring her to the registration, Bear Scat donates donuts.
She loves donuts.
We'll get her a donut. But then also let us know when you register, and we'll give you a spot that's maybe a little bit in less traffic area and a safer spot in town, because there are all sorts of different places that people can pick up.
Okay. And then I know you talked about inviting nonprofits, other things. So I'm the past president of the Optimist Club. So I think this is something that, to me, I always think, we're all in service to the community, whether it's Optimist, whether it's Kiwanis, whether it's Lions, or whether it's Rotary. If you send me some information, we've got a board meeting coming up, and then also we have our meetings every Tuesday. I would love to share this with our Optimist Club to see if Optimist Club would be willing to put a team together. Some of our members are in their 70s, might not make it, but I do think this is a great opportunity for them.
Thank you, Commissioner. I will absolutely follow up with you.
Okay.
Yep.
You know how to get a hold of me.
I do.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Herzog.
President Zimmerman, Commissioners, thanks for being here. Carl, I want to, I usually do mine at Pebble Creek Golf Course, and it is a fight between, I do get to pick up some extra golf balls, but there are ticks that I really don't like, but lots of garbage, construction things blowing, and looks really nice. And I spend a lot of time in the water, in the hazard areas, so it's nice and clean for me next time. But you guys with Keep Bismarck Beautiful are going to be recognized at Arbor Day. And so we're part of the Forestry Advisory Board, and just want to encourage everybody to come to Arbor Day and see you get an award for this great event. So I think it's May 1st. It's that
the
Friday.
day before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thank you for
kudos
that.
to you and your group.
I appreciate it.
Commissioner Redmond.
Thank you. President Zimmerman, Carl, you need to know, true confession, I'm obsessed with this event and have been for 13 years. I'm just letting you know. When Deb Seminary came to the Park District and wanted to start this and asked for our help, we jumped in, and I've been jumping in ever since. My family just says, yes, I know, we're going, where are we going? And so it's always a contest to see who can find a dead critter. and who can get ticks and things like that. And so, and they're disappointed when we're done. So we just kind of go through a park and then we just start down a street. And so the stories that come with it of people saying, I can't go on Saturday because there's soccer and all these things. So people start, days in advance and just go in their neighborhood and just get trash. And so I'm just love this event, and that the Bismarck Rotary picked it up, and even Far West Rotary before that started cleaning up River Road. And so it's just grown. The Lions Club would take Lions Park. And so I just love how it's just taken off in the community. It's become an annual event, and so grateful. And that the Arboretum gets picked up. I talked to a woman today who said that she and her granddaughters are excited because they bought pokey sticks, is what her granddaughters come in. They've already started cleaning up the Arboretum. So I just am so grateful that you've taken the lead, and that the Rotary Club has taken the lead on this. And so I don't think you're ever going to let it go, I hope. And I'm so grateful for the community and all the partners that you've mentioned that are continuing to do this. And so Arbor Day, and then it's Keep Bismarck Beautiful. And then the next day is also Cleanup Day in the community orchard. So all kinds of great things happening in May. So again, our gratitude. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
You're
I
welcome.
remember meeting you. That's the first time we met, was
Yes.
at Keep Bismarck Beautiful a
Yes.
couple years ago.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Gilbertson.
I just needed a clarification of the times, but it was answered in Commissioner Jeski's questions, so I'm good.
Carl, I thank you for it. I was a member of the Far West Rotary Club for several years, and we did River Road, so it's a great project, and our scout troop does a couple miles just on the other outskirts of town, so it's a great thing. And again, for people watching this evening, I would encourage you to contact the Rotary Club and help out. Let's get our city clean here. Thank you, Carl.
And if I may, for those people
Yeah.
looking for a way to get involved, just find us on Facebook. That's the best way. You can find us there and sign up there.
It's just Bismarck Rotary Club. That'll do it.
Yep.
Thank you. Our next one for partners is the Bismarck Youth Baseball. Eric Barch is the president of Bismarck Youth Baseball, and he's going to appear before the board and give us an update on baseball season is underway.
It is not the warmest season, but it's underway, that's for sure. Thank you, President Zimmerman, commissioners. Thank you for inviting me to come up and speak about Bismarck Youth Baseball. First of all, we have a bunch of thank yous. We would like to thank the Park Board for working with us over the years. I know we went through the transition with the Legion program a few years ago, and really the work that we do day to day with Parks and Rec is great. We wouldn't be able to do this without this board. We'd love to thank Kevin and his staff. Mike, Ethan, Riley. Our staff are working with them on a daily basis. We have to schedule over. We have 100 and some baseball teams with all the fields, and there's a lot of working that we need to do day to day with the group. And then the group that I always say goes unnoticed is, we have a tournament. It pours all night. Who's out there at 6:30 in the morning? You have Adam at Holland and Tatley and Brad at Shields Complex that are pumping the fields off, getting it ready so those kids can play baseball in the morning. Those kids don't see that, but it doesn't go unnoticed by us and what they do to get those fields ready. So we do appreciate that, and we want to make those call outs. And then the other is, Kevin's been around baseball in Bismarck for a very long time, and all the work that he's done, with the Park Board. He was actually nominated and then now selected for the North Dakota Babe Ruth and Cal Ripken Hall of Fame. So we'd like to congratulate him. So Bismarck is hosting the 12-year-old state tournament this summer in July, and Kevin will be honored at the state tournament. So it's great to have him honored there, and we'll be sending invites out to the board members and everybody to come for that ceremony. So again, congratulations. With me today I have Andrew Feist. Andrew took over as executive director of Bismarck Youth Baseball here 2 years ago. He's been a great addition to our organization, and then we've also added some additional staff with Skylar Strand, so bringing some Bismarck kids back to Bismarck, working for baseball and growing baseball here in Bismarck. And as you know, our board is a volunteer board. We have 11 board members that are working almost daily with baseball, helping the staff, helping with the tournaments and all that. So we're proud of what we've done as an organization. This is our 35th year as Bismarck Youth Baseball. And it's great to see the progress that we've made as an organization. So when I look at this past year, just to give you some numbers, we had 1,192 kids playing the summer. We had 260 kids play in the fall. We've expanded our baseball programming to allow kids to play fall baseball. So a total of 1,476 kids. 1,094 games were played in Bismarck this summer. 6,900 innings, 98 teams. So our growth continues year over year over year. But I think the fact of how we're running the program and providing those kids opportunities, it continues to grow, and we're proud of that. This last year, we hosted 74 teams with our tournaments from out of town. The city of Bismarck, and it's not, like I said, it's not always about the, winning. But we do have a segment within our organization. It is, competitive baseball. And we won 4 state championships in our 10, 11, and 12-year-olds this year. That's never been done in the history of Bismarck, to have 4 state champions in 1 year. So we actually won the King of the Diamond Award for the state of North Dakota as the most successful program in the state. So we're very proud of that, because I think it's getting those kids. We want baseball first kids. All our kids play multiple sports, and we love that, but we want them to love baseball. And that's what we're starting to see, and it's showing on the field, not only in our league, but also in our competitive baseball. We had 8 players move on to play college baseball this year. So that's one thing that we're working on with the governor's program, is working with the kids that are within that program or within our Legion program, not necessarily just governors, that have an aspiration to play college. So we've had 8 kids graduate to play college baseball. We have 18 total that are playing college baseball right now, that are alumni of our organization. So I think that's great. Looking into this year, we're projecting 102 teams, up from the 98. We've had the most travel teams that we've ever had. We'll have 21 travel teams within our organization, 81 league teams, and then we're planning to host over 80 teams this year within our tournament. So, again, we've had lots of growth. Some things that we've been really focusing on and improving within our organization is, we've done a lot of strategic planning as a board over the last year, working with coaches in town, working with city leaders, working with our board to strategically plan, where do we want to be 5, 6, 7 years? Where do we see our growth? What are some constraints that we're going to have to see continued growth? And it really brought a visionary plan as a board that we're all moving in the right direction, the same direction, and really focused on growing baseball. Like I said, we added staff. I can tell you, I don't know if I would be president with 98 teams and trying to schedule those and doing it as a volunteer. So we worked hard to get the resources in place, because it's key to have critical staff. And like Andrew and his team have been absolutely phenomenal on organizing everything that's moving. We have a lot of moving parts, so it's great to have them. We developed a summer intern program. So we had a student last year from Bismarck Century that was at NDSU. He came back and was an intern for us because he's going into sports management. So we're actually going to have 2 or 3 more interns this summer. So get people into sports management. We're establishing a Hall of Fame. For the rich history that we've had in this town for baseball, we don't have a Hall of Fame. So we felt it's critical to bring some of the past back to Bismarck, honor them for the contributions they made to baseball, either on the field or off the field. So we'll actually have our first class announced here, and we'll be honoring them at our first governor's game in early June, and we'll send out an invite to the group. So that's exciting to bring them back. And as part of that, we started the Diamond Club, and the Diamond Club is made up of people that are from the past that choose the Hall of Fame class. Plus, we also have Diamond Club memberships to where people can help support, individuals can help support youth baseball. So if you're interested, look at our website. There's the Diamond Club page, and look at the how you can become involved. We've expanded our indoor space, giving kids an opportunity to play within the winter. We spend a lot of time under where we can't play outside. So we've really expanded that portfolio for our kids. I tell the story. I had a 9-year-old come up to me, and he goes, "I just love playing baseball, and I love being here." I mean, those are the things that we really take to heart, and that kids want to play baseball, and we're giving them that opportunity. We've expanded our committees to represent more people from the town. We started a league committee, a Diamond Club, a tournament committee, events committee. It used to be just board members, but now we're spreading it out to have more people within the community providing that. And then expanding our fundraising. Our fundraising is great from the community. We've gotten lots of support. But before I go on, the last thing, I think I forgot to mention Kevin, and I mentioned Kevin and the staff, but I don't think I mentioned Mike, Ethan, Riley, Dave, the people that we work on a daily basis. Again, I want to, there might be names we left out, but I want to make sure people are recognized for what they do. The last part I have, and I would like to congratulate President Zimmerman on his foresight, because when Mr. Sagan was standing up here a few years ago, when we took over the Legion program, President Zimmerman said, "I suppose you're going to be back in a few years asking for fields." So the fact that he could predict that was a great. So I commend him for that. Yeah, it's like, and it is becoming a major problem for us. Is field space. We have something like we have 18 teams sharing 2 fields. We're in a bind, and today we're short, but we're forecasting in 5 years we're going to be 12, 13, 14 fields short to continue the growth. And we don't want to limit kids or have a waiting list or anything like that. We try everything we can. The other problem is then you end up making teams too big, and then kids don't get opportunity to play as much. So we're in a little bit of bind. And, we've been working with Kevin and the team on looking at some options, looking at what can we do. And we're prepared as an organization to really take a big step and look big picture on what can we do in the city to expand the baseball fields for our organization and for all the kids that we have. So that's become actually from a capital expansion, that's been our number one priority is we need to figure out find a solution to our field situation. So we've been a lot of thinking, a lot of discussions, and I hope they continue on and that we get the support from this committee at some point on what can we do together to grow the capacity of the fields in town.
Commissioners, questions? Questions for Eric here? Commissioner Jeske?
Oh, well, I don't always have to be first, but thank you, President Zimmerman. Eric, I just want to thank you for being a good partner with the Bismarck Park District, too. So I know you guys have supported us financially in the past with some major projects, and we really appreciate that. But just, partnerships go both ways, right? So I just want to thank you for all that you've done for the Bismarck Park District, too, and for youth baseball. Listening to these numbers, incredibly impressive.
Yep.
Incredibly impressive. So thank you for making a difference in the life of youth and also for making a difference in the Park District. It's more of a comment than a question.
Well, thank you very much.
Commissioner Redmond.
Thank you, President Zimmerman. And thanks so much for being here, Eric. Appreciate all that you do. And wow, impressive numbers is right. That 98 teams last year, and how many this year?
We're expecting around 102 teams.
Wow, that's a lot of people playing baseball. A lot
Yep.
of people. I was looking at your website just a little bit, and I saw that your registration is closed, and so you're probably putting all those teams together. Do you offer scholarships for any of those families that might not be able to pay any of your registration fees? Can you tell a little bit about that?
We do. We do get not several. I mean, we get a handful of scholarship requests every year that we grant a waiver on the fees. So yes, we do that. They fill out a simple application, nothing stressful, and then we review it as a committee and then approve them.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you.
Commissioner Gilbertson.
Eric, thank you again, as the other commissioners have said, for being here. My family's a former BYB, but about, I don't know, 6th grade, my son decided he liked football better. But I want to just say thank you for mentioning the unsung heroes of the Park District, because they truly are the magic of what happens in this district. I mean, the 5 of us sit here and are on TV and this and that, but whether it be, the guys you mentioned, or Danny at the ice rinks, or with the pools, I mean, those opportunities for the kids to participate and do those things don't exist without those amazing staff members that we have, and they don't get enough credit for what they do and what they provide and how important they are to what happens for youth sports in this town. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. It wouldn't be able, like you said, you wouldn't be able to do it for sure.
Eric, I have one question. What's the ratio of boys, girls?
So we get about, on average, probably 10 to 15 girls a year that end up playing baseball compared to
Of 1,000?
yeah.
Oh, interesting. I thought there'd be more.
Yeah, and they're usually all, typically the girls will come into the T-ball program, and then we'll eventually transition to like fast pitch, softball type programs, and that's typically what we see.
And I would ask, you don't have to tell me numbers or anything, but the Bismarck Youth Baseball does have charitable gaming?
Yes, we just in the last year.
Okay. Just, I'm not saying, good or bad, just, I know people ask me, well, who's all involved in charitable gaming? That's involved with the Park District.
Yep.
And I've heard that youth baseball has been involved with it, so.
Yeah, just in the last year, we've gotten active into that space, and I mean, our goal is we need money for fields, and we're preparing ourselves for infrastructure improvements and all those things, and those are what we're really focused on as an organization.
And I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I just wanted to make sure we hear that from the proverbial horse's mouth. That
Yep.
Yes, we are into charitable gaming. All right, any other questions from commissioners? If not, Eric, thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I'm going to go freeze at a baseball game now. So.
All right.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is disposition of bids. We have Jeff Ubel with us here from Ubel Design Group, is going to review the information on the Capitol Ice Complex refrigeration report. Good evening, Jeff, and thanks for waiting. We're an hour into the meeting here, so thanks for holding tight for us.
Well, I was just thinking that Brad and I get to sit through all this great stuff, and then we get to present the boring stuff. So happy to be here. Thank you, President Zimmerman. I am here to present the bids for the Schaumburg Arena refrigeration replacement project. I just wanted to be clear that this bid is just for the equipment and the installation. We will be bidding the addition where this equipment is going later on in the year. And I'll explain that, the rationale behind that in a minute. So on Tuesday, April 7th at 11 a.m., the Bismarck Parks and Recreation District called for bids for the project. At that time and place, myself along with staff received the bids, reviewed the bids. At that time, we received a single bid from Simco Refrigeration for the amount of $2,449,000. I think the other thing to add to this is this is a highly unique piece of equipment, and so there are very few companies in the country that actually build this equipment. And so for as disappointed as it is to see one bid, it's actually not very unusual. We've assisted the Park District on the refrigeration replacement at the VFW Sports Center several years back in 2015. And then also we did the refrigeration project that serves First International Bank of Trust Arena along with H.A. Thompson and Son Arena a few years back with that expansion project. And in the case of those projects, the VFW Sports Center, we had two bids. And then when we did the addition for First International Bank and Trust and H.A. Thompson and Son Arena, we had one bid too. So this is fairly typical. So if you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Questions for Jeff? Commissioner Gilbertson.
President Zimmerman, Jeff, falls within the budget, I think, right?
It's very close to the budget.
Okay. And then don't mean to bring up things from the past, but at Walker Arena, is this the same company?
It's the same company, different equipment.
Okay, so we anticipate X amount of years newer and all that good stuff, so.
This is the same equipment that went into First International Bank and Trust Arena.
Perfect.
And H.E. Thompson and Sons Arena. Yep.
Great. Awesome, so our staff is well-versed in how it works.
They provided a tremendous amount of input into this process.
Right
Yes,
on.
they did.
Thank you.
Yep.
Commissioner Jeske.
President Zimmerman, Jeff, just a few questions. So when would this project begin and when will it be done? And then based on Commissioner Gilbertson's comments, What type of service does this company offer? Are they pretty good at taking care of maintenance calls?
So to answer that question first, yes, they are. They've been a partner of the Park District going back to the replacement that we did at the VFW Sports Center in 2015. And so all of the equipment that Bismarck Parks and Rec now has for their ice arenas is by the same company. And so from my conversations with Dan Sedevy, you're getting good service from them. In regards to timeline, so there's really two projects here. This is the equipment that will then operate the Schaumburg Ice Arena. And so we did the bid for the equipment first because it takes about 12 to 14 months for this equipment to be manufactured and delivered. There is an addition that's going to go on to the Schaumburg Ice Arena where this equipment will be placed. That's the project that we're going to bid a little bit later on in the year. And that really has to do with the ability to keep the Schaumburg Ice Arena operating for the next ice season. There's a old piece of equipment that's in the way that everybody's really nervous about touching, and so we're just going to wait and build the building the following spring after the next ice season. And so this project, like I mentioned, will take about 12 to 14 months for the equipment to be built. If the equipment is built prior to the addition being completed, then Simcoe will store the equipment up in Winnipeg, and they'll drive it back down when it's ready to be placed. The addition will start then in the spring, March of 2027, and then we have that scheduled to be completed by November of 2027. And I know that Mike is working with the Hockey Boosters and the Figure Skating Club to align schedules accordingly.
Thank you, that makes sense.
Any other questions, commissioners? My only comment would be not a question to you, Jeff, but just general comment. I hear, and I'm sure other commissioners and staff here, you know, what's all the projects that the Park District is doing? Why aren't we doing more? But to me, I look at this for $2.5 million for one ice arena. I think for folks to realize that, I shouldn't talk like that. But that, plus, you know, then the building for it. So Dr. Fosnot made it clear what the school district does as well to, you know, to be a good steward of the taxpayers' dollars. Well, here we are as well, keeping up our equipment, but to the tune of $2.5 million. So what are the wishes of the commissioners? Commissioner Jeske?
President Zimmerman, I will make a motion that we approve the bid for a Simcoe, to Simcoe Refrigeration in the amount of $2,400,000, oh, my glasses on here, sorry, $2,449,000 for the Schaumburg Arena refrigeration replacement, equipment and installation.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion by Commissioner Jeske, second by Commissioner Redmond. Any further questions? If not, Julie, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson?
Aye.
Herzog?
Yes.
Redmond?
Aye.
Jeske?
Aye.
President Zimmerman?
Aye. Thank you, Jeff. Our next on the disposition of bids is for the VFW Sports Center and Tom O'Leary Golf Course concession. And we have with us our Facilities and Program Director, Mr. Mike Wald.
Good
Good
evening.
evening, Mike.
Good evening, President Zimmerman and Commissioners. On April 1st, we received and opened one bid for the VFW Sports Center Tom O'Leary Golf Course concessions. The term of the bid is from September 1st of 2026 through to August 31st of 2030 with the options for renewal. The minimum bid amount with a flat rent rate of $67,940 over that period of time, with a minimum bid of 15% for food and beverage sales after state and local taxes. BSG Food Service submitted a bid of $125,000 in rent with an 18% food and beverage sales after state and local taxes. Staff recommends the board to accept the bid provided by BSG Food Service along with the proposed agreement in your packet. Yeah, stand for any questions.
Questions for Mike? Mike, and just for my confirmation, this is the group that currently has the concessions at the facility, correct?
President Zimmerman and Commissioners, that is correct. Dating back many years, they've done a very nice job at serving the facility. You take in mind of all the activity and games that are there and the long weekends, they do a nice job, as well as the Tom Leary Golf Course.
They do, and I would publicly say that the times that I'm there, yeah, they do a great job there at the facility. Any other questions from commissioners?
President Zimmerman, I move that we accept the bid provided by BSG Food Services along with the proposed amendment.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gilbertson, second by Commissioner Herzog. Any further questions? If not, Julie, if you'd call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson,
Aye.
Herzog,
Yes.
Redmond,
Aye.
Jeske,
Aye.
President Zimmerman.
Aye. Thank you, Mike. The next item on our agenda is to appoint a board member to the Recreation Center Feasibility Study Selection Committee. Just briefly, the City of Bismarck and the Park District have agreed to work cooperatively to facilitate a request for proposals with the intention of identifying the needs, feasibility, and support structure to pursue a community recreation facility. We're going to create a committee to review the proposals with representatives from the city as well as the Park District. Tonight, we would like to have, appoint a commissioner, and 2 staff members will be appointed from the Park District, the same city commissioner, and 2 staff members from the city staff that would review and score the proposals, and if necessary, conduct interviews to pick the best proposal. I would open it up for discussion from commissioners, but our intent is to appoint one of the commissioners here this evening to that review committee. Commissioners?
President Zimmerman, I guess I don't know how much conversation, but I would just say from the way I see it as the only board member who didn't express interest in wanting to serve on the committee, because I just don't have time right now to add that. I think it's, although every single one of them would be amazing, the fact that this is for a facility, I think that it should be somebody that is that has the facilities portfolio, just to keep it streamlined. Being that Commissioner Jeske is up for re-election, I don't think that that's her. So, like I said, everybody would do great, but I would make a motion to appoint Commissioner Redmond, since she has the facilities portfolio and is not up for re-election.
Is there a second?
I will second that, and I'm just going to make a small comment. I think Paula brings not only the facilities portfolio expertise, but then she's also was part of the facilities when we looked at doing the one in 2020. So she's very familiar with what we tried to do with that process. So I think she's highly qualified for this position, and I would second the motion.
Any further discussion? I'm going to say, I'll be off the board, so I don't have any, I guess, skin in the game beyond that. But I do think certainly all of us as commissioners, as the process moves forward, we can certainly have our input. If whoever represents the board, along with the city, you can certainly, give your input as well, what you would want to see in the proposal. So if there's no other discussion?
I guess my only other discussion point, President Zimmerman, would be that it's just a representative on this committee. It's not acting solely. I mean, there will be input from all of us, so.
Thank you, Commissioner. That's what I think you explained very well, Commissioner Gilbertson. It's just to represent the board. We need one on there, but we certainly would have the input from all the commissioners, because I'm sure once this becomes more public, we're all going to hear comments that we can funnel through. Okay, so we have a Motion by Commissioner Gilbertson, a second by Commissioner Jeske. Julie, if you'd call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson,
Aye.
Herzog,
Yes.
Redmond, Jeske,
Aye.
President Zimmerman.
Aye.
President Zimmerman, if I may?
Yes, Commissioner Redmond.
Thank you, everyone, for your vote of confidence. I'm delighted to, again, represent this body on that committee, and I'd be looking for your input. And I will, that communication goes both ways. I'm happy to report back to you in details of what happens and what are the steps going forward. So thank you for your support.
For folks that watching both here and on the TV, I would ask Executive Director Clipfell if he has in front of him kind of a timeline, how we're moving forward on this.
President Zimmerman and Commissioners, thanks. The proposals for the RFP are due now Tuesday the 21st, and then the committee will score all those and get together and review those. And we have, if we need to do interviews with some of the top proposals, we would do those April 30th and May 1st. And so then we would, after we go through that process, we'd work to develop a contract, and then we plan to bring those contracts or that agreement back to both boards, the Park Board and the City Commission, in May, between May 21st and May 26th.
Thank you, Kevin. Commissioner Gilbertson, excuse me.
President Zimmerman, I'm just curious, who will the staff members be? I'm guessing Director Wald?
President Zimmerman, Commissioner Gilbertson, Dana and I have been working on the proposal, and so we will sit on the committee to do that, but we will keep the other staff involved as we move this process forward and get into the actually working with the plan.
Sure. And, excuse me, President Zimmerman, Director Clipfell, I'm guessing that once this step is done, then the scope changes again.
President
Right.
Zimmerman and Commissioner Gilbertson, yes, once we get the proposal and start working with that company, then this will be a bigger staff effort. And also, commissioners, as you know, that the last time we went through this process, there was stakeholder meetings, community meetings, so there'll be a lot of opportunities for many, many different people, organizations, groups, and citizens to get involved, provide feedback on the proposed facility.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Any further comments? Thank you, Director Clipfell. If not, we'll move on the agenda. Our next item, item number 9, is the consideration of the 2027-2029 strategic plan. And we have with us this evening our Community Relations Manager, Dana Shar. Good evening, Dana.
Good evening, President Zimmerman and Commissioners. The 2027-2029 strategic plan is before you. It was developed as part of our regular strategic planning process earlier this year. And through our planning session, and also some review and feedback as well. I just wanted to highlight a couple of changes from the previous year's plan. Under the first goal, secure, protect, and use parkland wisely, we added a third objective to continue land planning for park areas that are undeveloped or could be redeveloped. And then we also added the completion of the feasibility study for community recreation center, which was just discussed under the second goal of providing high-quality recreation to meet diverse community needs. There were some other changes as well, kind of a little bit minor changes. We did recognize under using resources efficiently and effectively the importance of both using technology, emerging technology as efficiently as we can, and then also focusing on leadership development planning for our workforce going forward. So with that, we would recommend this plan be approved going forward. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Commissioners, questions for Dana? Commissioner Gilbertson.
Not a question, I guess, but just another statement. Thank you for your work. I know this is an important thing for the Park District to keep this strategic plan rolling and make sure that it doesn't gather dust. So I appreciate, and it's been awesome over the years being part of it too as a commissioner. Although kind of feels like when I sit in IEP meetings, I'm there because the law says I have to be. But the people the boots on the ground every day, it's the amount of input that they have in this too is awesome. So thank you.
Other questions or comments? Dana, thank you for putting it together. I appreciate the addition of that one objective under secure, protect, and use parkland wisely, as well as the feasibility study, but good to be planning ahead. So thank you for that. Well, wishes of the commissioners?
President Zimmerman, I move that we accept the Bismarck Parks and Recreation District Strategic Plan for 2027 to 29.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Redmond, second by Commissioner Jeske. Any further discussion? If not, Julie, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson.
Aye.
Herzog.
Yes.
Redmond.
Aye.
Jeske.
Aye.
President Zimmerman.
Aye. Next item on the agenda is the initial resolution for general obligation park facilities bonds. We have with us this evening our Finance Director, Kathy Feist. And Kathy is going to give us a review of that and the necessary resolutions that the commission would make in this effort. Good evening, Kathy.
Good evening, President Zimmerman and Commissioners. In your agenda packet is a memo that outlines a request to authorize funding for improvement projects. We are looking to issue general obligation park facility bonds to support the completion of improvement projects for a list of, we have 10 parking lot projects that we would like to pursue. Those would be for maintenance projects. We might do mill and overlay, and there's some that are going to be on the schedule to be reconstructed, as well as there is one that at Dakota Zoo, Sertoma Park Shelter 8, that would be expanded. So those are the projects that are being considered for funding under this bond issue that we are requesting. As you know, we did request authorization to apply for the Bank of North Dakota infrastructure loan. Unfortunately, the Park District did not receive that loan, so we are looking at other funding options to be able to move these projects forward, as we have a continuous need to improve the property that we maintain in the Park District. We did analyze different funding options, and based on estimated project costs, borrowing rates that we anticipate, and then also what our outstanding debt level is at this point, we would look at issuing general obligation bonds up to a maximum of $6 million, and the terms of that would be determined once we know what the actual interest rates would be on that. So in order to move that forward, we would need we're requesting that the Park Board authorize the initial resolution. What that does is that would be published then in the Bismarck Tribune, and that would start the 60-day protest period. So if any citizens wanted to protest that, they could make that known, and then after that 60-day protest period expires, the Park Board would reconvene and determine if there were sufficiencies of protests or not. And if there were insufficient protests, then we would move forward with selling bonds at the point that we needed the dollars to pay for the construction projects. The timing of the projects isn't set in stone as of yet. The other resolutions or the other authorizations that we're asking for tonight are to consider or to approve the consultant agreement with KLJ. They were selected as from the original project when we moved that or asked for that request in December. They were selected as the consultants. Executive Director Klipfel worked with KLJ to revise the agreement. We did add a couple parking lot projects to that original list in the hopes of having, if we have favorable bids, we'll be able to accomplish more work to get that completed under this type of project. And then the third option would, the third thing would be is to call for bids for the projects that are listed above included in the memo. Are there any questions for me?
Commissioner Jeske?
President Zimmerman, I just have one question. Do you want 3 motions on that, on this? So one to approve the resolution for general obligation bonds, and then also to approve the consultant agreement, and then call for bids? Or are you just looking for one motion?
President Zimmerman, Commissioners, Commissioner Jeske, I believe it would be best to have 3 separate motions.
Okay.
Any other questions for Kathy? Commissioner Herzog?
Thanks, President Zimmerman, Commissioners. Thanks, Kathy. I made it to some of the parking lots just to check them out. I feel like I should when it's a $6 million bond issue. And I had a few folks reach out to me and say, and this is very, I think, you know, what Dr. Fosnacht was talking about as well. We have a lot of facilities that need a lot of work. I think the comment to me was, it just seems like everything's so expensive. And when I watch the park board meetings, we're spending a lot of money, and we have a lot of stuff and a lot of stuff to fix. A $2.5 million chiller unit, $6 million on parking lots. It does. I wish it was cheaper, but that's kind of where we're at. So it does give me some heartburn, but I don't know that there's any other options really out there. And I appreciate you doing this. I hope, again, like with Dr. Fosnacht, we're getting some sweet low bond interest like the city had got, and hopefully that gets us close-ish to what the loan would have been with Bank of North Dakota Infrastructure. Was that 2%? Is that there? So for under 3%, that would be, fantastic, I think. So appreciate it.
Commissioner Gilbertson?
President Zimmerman, and yes, to Commissioner Herzog's point, just like with the school stuff, like we could say no, but that isn't going to stop the deterioration of the parking lots. And in 2 years, it's $8 million I mean, there never is a good time to bite this off, but I see some of the like the improvements that parking lot, some of the things that the parking lot improvements and projects have done for some of our facilities, namely Sleepy Hollow Arts Park and the Shields Baseball Complex. I mean, can you imagine those places without those parking lots now? I mean, when I was a youth baseball parent, that was in the days of the gravel parking lot. And when you had a 45-mile-an-hour north wind, which seemed to happen every Tuesday, it was painful to sit there and watch. And so, yes, it is a lot of money, but these projects, the life that they bring back to these facilities and these areas, I think as a citizen of Bismarck, it's well worth it. So, just my 2 cents.
Commissioner Jeske?
President Zimmerman, yeah, I agree. $6 million, it's a little bit of a bitter pill to swallow, but I don't know how many times I go through the Gateway Mall parking lot and can hear my bottom of my car scraping because I've hit a huge pothole. If anything, I would, and I know Dave does a great job of assessing everything that needs to be done here. He's got a timeline, he's got a schedule, Gosh, I wish this even included Riverwood Golf Course, because I know there's so many deep ruts that happen there, and the lot seems like I inevitably park right right next to a big puddle. But yeah, it's hard, but part of our strategic plan is also the maintenance of our existing facilities. So yeah, I don't like to spend $6 million either, but it's necessary. It's really necessary.
I would ask Kathy or Executive Director Klipfel, question often to me is, well, the Park District keeps taking on more debt and more debt to do these projects. But I think it's also important to have the statement of what we've paid off. I know Kevin has mentioned that to me at our meetings, but for the public, Kathy or Director Klipfel, what have we paid off this year in bond debt? It's not like we just keep taking on more debt and more debt. We're also being, again, as Dr. Fosnacht, I'm going to reiterate, we're careful stewards of the money. And I think it's important to know that, yeah, we pay off debt as well as incur debt.
President Zimmerman and Commissioners, President Zimmerman, to answer your question, at the end of, as of 12/31/2025, our outstanding debt balance was $24.8 million. And on an annual basis, we pay off a little over $3.5 million. So at the end of 2026, without this issue, we would be at about $21.3 million. And then adding the $6 million to it would be $27.3 million at the end of the year. The timing of the bond issue, we're not sure if we'll sell bonds in 26 or 27. We're working with bond counsel to monitor the rates in the market to make sure that we're going to sell at the best time, that we'd get the best rates for.
Director Klipfeld, anything to add to that? Okay. Thank you, Kathy. I think that's important, to say we're paying it off as well. We're just not just adding more and more debt. We're paying it off. All right. We have then before us 3 resolutions. In your packet, you had the one page for the final resolution for general obligation park facilities bonds. I don't, if we need to read that entire resolution, we have it in front of us.
Already did.
You already did. Thank you, Commissioner Gilbertson. I would ask the board what their wishes are on the resolution for the general obligation park facility bonds.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gilbertson, second by Commissioner Redmond. Any further discussion? If not, Julie, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson.
Aye.
Herzog.
Yes.
Redmond.
Aye.
Jeske.
Aye.
President Zimmerman.
Aye. The second motion then would be to approve KLJ as the engineering and professional services on this project. Any questions or comments, Director Klipfeld? Anything to add there for the KLJ motion?
So I make the motion to approve KLJ as the endorsed consultant, or, approve the endorsed consultant agreement with KLJ.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Jeske, second by Commissioner Redmond. We have Brad in the audience. I hate to have him sit here for an hour plus and not even,
It's okay.
he's
Yeah, Brad,
okay?
you want to come up here and
For $6 million, he'll sit there.
dog and bone?
All right, any further discussion? If not, Julie, if you'd call the roll. Now, just again, this is for the agreement between the Park District and KLJ for engineering and professional services.
Commissioner Gilbertson.
Aye.
Herzog.
Yes.
Redmond.
Aye.
Jeske.
Aye.
President Zimmerman.
Aye. We have one more motion to make, and I'll be honest, I forgot.
Call for bids.
I move that we call for bids for the projects listed above on the parking lots.
Second it.
Second.
Got it.
Motion by Commissioner Redmond, second by Commissioner Jeske. Any further discussion? If not, Julie, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson.
Aye.
Herzog.
Yes.
Redmond.
Aye.
Jeske.
Aye.
President Zimmerman.
Aye. Thank you, Kathy, for presenting that information. I look forward to that. That's a big project. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. A variety of items have been placed on a consent agenda. A consent agenda can be approved with one motion, or an item or items can be removed for additional discussion and separate action. Staff recommends the approval of the following items. Consideration of the March 19th, 2026 board meeting minutes. The minutes have been provided for your consideration. Request for disposal of surplus equipment. And you've seen that memo provided by Operations Director David Mayer. What are the wishes of the commission?
President Zimmerman, I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gilbertson, second by Commissioner Redmond. Any further discussion? If not, Julie, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson.
Aye.
Herzog.
Yes.
Redmond.
Aye.
Jeske.
Aye.
President Zimmerman.
Aye. Item 12 on the agenda is approval of bills.
So moved?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Jeske, second by Commissioner Redmond. Any further discussion? If not, Julie, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson.
Aye.
Herzog.
Yes.
Redmond.
Aye.
Jeske.
Aye.
President Zimmerman.
Aye. The next item on the agenda is the consideration of executive director finalists. Again, for general public, the commission did interview 4 candidates for the position of executive director of Bismarck Parks and Recreation. Those interviews have been concluded, and tonight our intent is that we would have a discussion and select from those 4, perhaps final candidate or candidates, at which time we would move forward with checking references and letters of recommendation. And then on the 23rd of April, as a matter of transparency or public information, the board will meet in special session to make a final decision on offering that position to one of the candidates. So I will open it up to commissioners for discussion on how we wish to proceed on this matter.
President Zimmerman, probably before we get into that meat of the discussion, I just wanted to say I wanted to thank Julie Fornchell and Kevin and our legal counsel for the extensive work that they did in the whole process of the advertising that was done nationally. We extended the deadline then, and again, advertising nationally and regionally for this position. This is a heavy lift, but the work that was done to secure candidates was certainly appreciated. And so I just wanted to let them know the work that they did was appreciated for us to do the interviews. And so just wanted that noted, that it was good work that was done to bring us those candidates forward. So
Thank you, Commissioner Redmond. I back up. I'm going to ask our legal counsel, John Moore, any comments to the commission, what we can say this evening, John, or not? Make sure we do this correct, or Executive Director Clipfeld can join in before we start any discussion. Thank you, John.
Yeah, President Zimmerman, commissioners, yeah, I think so. Today, we'll just be addressing who you are selecting as your finalists. We've obviously got the 4 finalists that are before you, and then kind of it would be the people that would be checked as far as their references are concerned. And then as far as offers and things like that, that'll be done at the special meeting. So today it's just sort of your final discussion as to who you want to extend that to. And then when you come back again, you'll have your last piece of information, I guess. You'll have the information related to the reference checks.
Thank you, John. And I would echo just briefly Commissioner Redmond's comments. I've appreciated John's insight and coming to a couple extra meetings, taking time as well, besides the work of our staff. So thank you, John. All right, commissioners, certainly we can take the time here to discuss and how we wish to move forward.
Well,
Commissioner Gilbertson?
should we just start?
If you would.
I guess, President Zimmerman, I just want to say that it is that it was a good experience getting to visit with the 4 candidates and go through the interview process. We had 2 internal candidates, and they presented themselves very well and did a very nice job. And then the 2 external candidates, I guess, I just like interviewing, when I've interviewed for principal jobs, those that have held an equivalent position answer differently. And, not that it's right or wrong, but when you can rely on years of experience, it's just, you get different answers. But I just wanted to say that, they all did very well. They all did very well and presented themselves, well and worthy of the position. So I guess that's where I'll start. And
I'm just going to continue around the table. Commissioner Redmond?
thank you, President Zimmerman. Echoing what Commissioner Gilbertson has said, I feel that this is a big district with a $28 million budget. I don't think it's a training ground for someone who hasn't had that executive level experience. It's complex. There's a lot of demands, both from staff, from budgeting, from executive level decisions, from strategic planning, from working with other political subdivisions, from strategic planning and fundraising. And so I think it's a position that needs experience in those areas. So those are some of my initial thoughts of the next executive director. It's also interesting heading into our 100th anniversary that we've had 5 executive directors in that time frame, and all of us at this table have known or worked with 3 of those people. And so that's a pretty special gift. And so we have those comparisons to make and those experiences to draw from. We also have each other to draw from in making this very large decision, and I'm grateful for that.
Commissioner Jeske?
Thank you, President Zimmerman. This was an interesting process, you know, when I got on the board, Steve New left, and then Randy Bina was named executive director. And when Randy retired, Kevin was named executive director. But the opportunity to sit down and interview 4 candidates with such diversity within their answers, and just to get to know everyone a little bit more, it was really interesting. This is a tough decision. This is one that I'm losing sleep over, to be honest with you. I want to make sure I make the right decision. I feel very proud and protective of this district. And so I want to make sure that when everything is said and done, I can safely say that in my judgment and given the research that I've done, that that I've made the right decision. So this is not something any of us are taking lightly. It's not something we're just rolling the dice and saying, okay, here's what we're going to move forward with. We've put a lot of thought and consideration to this. It's a little nerve-wracking, but it's an enjoyable process.
Commissioner Herzog?
Well, thank you, President Zimmerman, commissioners. Yeah, I echo everything everybody said. For me, getting to know our 2 internal candidates better was great for me, to have 2 hours to chat with them, hear their ideas, hear their experiences, because that's just not an experience that I can have directly with them at this point. So to me, I think that was the biggest takeaway, and also to see, I think from the external candidates, how respected Bismarck Parks and Recreation is, that people know who we are outside of this community. I don't think any of the external candidates, they're like, well, you know, yeah, you could do this or that, but you guys are cruising pretty good. And I think that goes out to all our staff. They were very impressed with the district. So my top 2 were a little different from the other 4. So and knowing that I'm just one, I'm waiting for a motion that's probably coming from the other 4. But I really appreciated the general management in-basket test as well. I know the city uses that, and I want to thank Kevin. He was able to grab up the last 5 directors at the city and what they scored, and that helped me with some, just knowing who those folks are. It helped me kind of understand what that score means for a department head or an administrator. So I'll stop there.
Well,
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Commissioner
Well,
Gilbertson.
President Zimmerman, I just want to echo what Commissioner Herzog said with the getting to know the staff better, and that is something that I mean, hopefully I have the opportunity moving forward that would definitely take that as an important thing, because we hear the amazing things that they do, but getting to know them, I think everybody, all the employees should have that opportunity to for us to get to know them. So sorry if that was a tangent train, but it kind of fit in with what Commissioner Herzog said.
I would agree. I agree with all of you. I have had some long nights when I looked at all the information and when we got the in-basket results. I visited with Kevin, and Julie was kind enough to come in and sit in on a meeting and give me some more insight on that whole process. And it's one part of the puzzle. We have the interviews, we have their resumes, we have the in-basket, and I guess our own gut feeling, with all the perspectives we bring to it as commissioners. I would say to our 2 internal candidates, and I don't know if it's proper to say their names, we haven't said them. You know, for Ryan and Mike, it was great to visit with them for an hour, hour and a half for each one. I sense their pride and passion that they work for the Bismarck Park District and their jobs. I hope that it was a good experience for them. I know we've received thank you notes from them for allowing that, and I appreciate that. Our external candidates, as we continue our discussion, I found it heartening that they had both done research on our district and were complimentary of the high regard that the Bismarck Park District has nationally. They did their research. The one gentleman certainly did the research. He knew more about some of the parts of the district than I think I did at one time. So we're fortunate. But yes, I have said all along in this process, I see this as perhaps my most important job now as a commissioner, is to do our very best, to due diligence, to hire the best candidate or director we can. And I truly believe we've given it a good review. We didn't take it lightly. We kept it open, and we hoped we'd get to search out for more candidates. So I think we've done well. I think sometimes as I watch the Board of Higher Education, go through the whole mechanism to hire a president at NDSU and hire a president at BSC. And I think now they're hiring a president at Mayville. They're going through this process as well. So I don't think any of us take it lightly when we're on boards. So still, our intent tonight is to select a candidate or candidates to move forward with reference checks and, calling. I will call those references listed. I also plan on calling those who provided letters of recommendation. So again, I will ask the commissioners, how do you wish to proceed? John, is that fair?
President Zimmerman, yes, that's fair.
Thank you. I want to keep it straight here.
President Zimmerman, I guess I would make a motion that, and it can be amended by any of the other commissioners, but I would like to make a motion to name Dave Leaker and Joshua Clevenger as the finalists for the position, and have you reach out to the references and do those reference checks, and then provide that information to us.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Motion by Commissioner Gilbertson, second by Commissioner Redmond, that this board make their final selections of Josh Clevenger and David Leaker as our final candidates for the position of Executive Director of the Bismarck Park District. Any further discussion?
President Zimmerman?
Commissioner Herzog? Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Jeske.
Okay. Thank you, President Zimmerman. I just want to reiterate, like I said, this was a really tough decision. And I just want to remind everybody that as we move forward, it doesn't matter. I know I voted on things before that has not passed. Everyone else has voted a different way. But I think it's really important that we remember as a board that we speak with one voice after we make a motion and after we make that vote. So I just, like I said, there's been things that I have voted yes for and everyone else has voted no. But at the end of the day, I have to respect the majority vote of the board. So I just wanted to reiterate that because I think it can get lost in translation.
Thank you, Commissioner Jeske. I would echo that. Perhaps we've all been on boards where that vote doesn't always go the way you want. But again, when we leave here tonight, that's the decision of the Board of Park Commissioners, and we support that. Before we take the vote, I'm going to single him out whether he likes it or not. Ryan, I thank you for coming tonight. And again, I would thank you for your time to interview. You certainly impressed me. I don't know all the full-time employees that well, but I want you to know that you show the pride and passion to be a member of the staff. I hope as other positions open up within the district that you will consider moving forward. I would appreciate that. So, Commissioner Redmond.
Ryan, it's nice to see you sitting here. I'm sure it's difficult to sit here, but I'm really happy to see you.
We have a motion before us. Any further discussion? Julie, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gilbertson,
Aye.
Herzog,
No.
Redmond,
Aye.
Jeske,
Aye.
President Zimmerman.
Aye. That is the last item on the agenda. Let me restate a couple matters here. There will be a special park board meeting on April 23rd at 4:30 p.m. at the Park District Administrative Office. And the purpose of that will be to make final determination on the position of Executive Director and compensation and other considerations for that. Also wish to mention there will be a tour of Park District facilities and parks will be held on April 29th, beginning at 4 p.m. from the Park District Administrative Office. And lastly, the next regular Park Board meeting of the Bismarck Board of Park Commissioners is May 21st, 2026 at 5:15 in the fabulous Tom Baker Meeting Room. Meeting adjourned.